So should we go ahead and start? I see Benjamin is here he was in Nellie's session earlier. Is that session about to wrap up, Benjamin? Is your microphone working here?
Yes. Hello, Vance. Yeah, they're wrapping up, so you might be getting a few more people coming into the session, but they were wrapping up as I was leaving just a few minutes ago.
Okay. Maybe we'll give it a couple of minutes then, or we could also alternatively just get started and people can catch it as they come in. We've got 3 mics active. So it's a good idea when you're not talking to mute your microphone, and then that will probably allow at least one microphone to be active that people can grab if they need it, or if they'd like to. It's a good idea if you're going to talk to raise your hand first. Raise your hand. There's a hand icon. It looks like this when you raise it. And maybe we'll just wait. Be a little patient. Yep, someone, somebody. Cherry raised a hand. Okay, good for you. And then you click the hand again to bring your hand down. Moderators can also click those hands away. Well, maybe I'll go ahead and start the recording and make the introductions, and then let Kalyan begin. Shall I do that? Is Kalyan? No, Kalyan's still there. Okay. The participants list just scrolled down, and I didn't see Kalyan at the top. So shall I go ahead and start? Waiting for a confirmation from Kalyan just to make sure that your voice is working and you're ready. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, okay, fine. And you can start.
Okay, I'll start the recording. Looks like you got this down very well. Okay, I'm going to, first of all, erase the recording that's gone before, erase everything up to now, and starting the recording now.
Recording started.
Okay, hi everybody. This is Vance Stevens in Al Ain, United Arab Emirates. Let's see, today is Sunday, the 10th of November, and we're talking today with Kalyan Chattopadhyay, and he's a long-time acquaintance. Interacted with him in numerous EVO sessions in Second Life, and I saw him in near Chennai in Vellore. Yes, okay, at a conference there. I was lucky to meet him face to face, and so anyway. It's nice to have Kalyan here. Kalyan is doing quite a lot of traveling around. Maybe you can tell us what he's doing. Looks like this presentation that he's going to do today is about social networking in India, teachers' use of social networking in India. It's a study. And he gave this at the World Cal Conference. And Claire, I see, is in the room. I think she was there as well. So anyway, it's a presentation that he gave there. It looks like you're giving something similar at Asia Call in Konkan University. Maybe it sounds like it's a similar talk coming up. So Kalyan, welcome. It's really nice to talk to you again. It's been a long time. And how are you today? Tell us more about what you've been doing.
Give me just a second. There is somebody in the door. Okay.
Just a second? Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll pause the recording a second.
Recording stopped.
Okay. Okay, I paused the recording. Kalyan, do a voice check. Make sure you're back online. I've paused the recording, and then I'll restart it, and you can resume. Go ahead, test your voice.
Okay, thanks for your nice introduction. And I'm very happy to be here at last.
We're not recording. Let me resume the recording. Kalyan, hang on. Let me resume the recording. Okay. When you got up, I stopped the recording. I'll just resume it. Okay, here goes.
Recording started.
Okay. Thanks, Vance, very much for inviting me to give this presentation. This is a rerun of what I spoke at World Call Conference last July at Glasgow. And I find here, yes, Claire was there during my presentation. We met for the first time in Glasgow. Yeah, I'm fine, and I hope that everybody's fine. I can see some of my friends here, particularly Cherry. I know him. Shela is also joining us from Hyderabad. Yeah, nice to see some friends, and nice to meet some of you online whom I have not met so far face to face. Thanks very much for coming. I'll try to be very brief, and I'll take this opportunity to interact with you more on the kind of research I did, and I'm still looking at the different aspects of this topic. For the purpose of mutual convenience, I'm thinking of switching off the video in course of my talk, and that will give me better bandwidth and will also help you to listen better. The other thing is something which is beyond my control is I live on the edge of the street, and so you can frequently hear the sounds of vehicles moving on, speeding. So that is something you have to bear with me, and I'm extremely sorry for that. So let's start talking about language teachers' use of social networking technologies in India. This is the first thing that I would like to gloss over before I move on. If you just have a quick look here, we'll find that in 2009 in India, the internet users were around 71 million. In December 2012, it was 80 million, and in June, when I last collected the data to prepare my presentation, it was 89 million internet users. So 2009 is the year when I started collecting data for this research. And when I come to 2013, I find that there is a substantial increase in terms of internet users in India. And also, there is a substantial increase in terms of use of social networking sites from 56% to 74%. Now the question is, what does it mean to us who are in language teaching? This is something I'm trying to look at with a kind of an hypothesis that the use of social networking is impacting on the social professional practices of Indian language teachers. And then when I started working, I found that there is little research, almost no research to understand the ways Indian English language teachers are currently using social networking in their social and professional contexts. Now, so what we are getting here, the number of internet users is growing exponentially, particularly in urban India, and we are hoping that this power in the use of social networking will impact on the social and professional practices of the language teachers. But we hardly have any research to have a kind of a foundational understanding how these teachers use social networking in their social and professional lives. So I decided to conduct an exploratory study first to understand the ways these teachers currently use social networking in their social and professional contexts. And then I moved on and I looked at the textual trace of their practices in terms of various pedagogical stances. And I analyzed them and I tried to discuss some of the possible uses of these technologies in teaching. These were my research questions in the beginning. What are the social networking technologies the Indian language teachers use in their social lives, in teaching, and for their professional context, and for professional development? How frequently do they use them, and what are the ways they use them? This is in brief my method.
Kalyan,
A web-based survey.
can we ask a question? What is SCN? We're having a chat going on in the question about that. SCN.
SCN is social networking sites. Social networking, SCN. Shall I move on?
Yeah, thanks. We were trying to think what the C
Right.
could stand for. Okay.
Right. So I used a web-based survey program called Survey Gizmo to elicit data on a superficial level from the English language teachers on the frequency and purpose of use of their social networking. And then, in order to understand their practices in depth, I interviewed a couple of teachers using a semi-structured questionnaire. And some of the traces of their practices, which actually form the basis of my case studies, were also observed using unstructured observation technique. So, in the process, I used both qualitative and quantitative methods to maximize both the breadth and depth of the insights that I can generate, so that I can get a richer sort of a data, that interview data, to complement the broader, more generalized questionnaire data. So the data from the individual teacher survey response or interview and observations of use of social networking were then matched for convergence and divergence between what is said and what is written, following a linguistic ethnographic approach pioneered by Maybin and Tufting in 2011. And further, the data from the interviews and observations were used to illustrate and confirm the interpretations of the questionnaire data. Now I'm going to share some of the findings of my survey research These are some of the tools used and the percentage of the use in the social lives and teaching practices and professional development, and I've also named the tools that were actually used. Now if you have a look at this particular slide, you can see that the use of social networking for professional development or in teaching practice is much lower than the use in social lives, which is quite obvious. Sorry. Then I looked at the purpose of use and the frequency of use. So mostly when the teachers are using these technologies with their students, and they're just using them to boost learners' confidence, give feedback, create online resources, and design online learning environment. Then I looked at the hypothesis that, say for example, the teachers who are trained in using some sort of technology in the class, they are handling it better or not. So when I looked at this, I found that those who have received pre-service training, they are not that much using this kind of technology with their students or in their professional development. So training is not making any big difference. That's one of the things that I noticed. And if you look at these teachers who have received training and those who have not received any kind of sort of training, what they are doing with these technologies, for example, socially and professionally, you will see once again that there is hardly any difference. So, what are the major findings of this? One is the teacher's use of social networking is just mainly to access and present information and to interact with the students. The use of these technologies for pedagogic purposes is bare minimum. And also there is a kind of an overlap in terms of use of the tools. For example, the tools that they use for social networking are the tools they use for with their students also. So for example, in India in particular, Orkut by Google is quite popular, as popular as Facebook, but Facebook is now more popular. But when I started working in 2009, Orkut was very popular, and I came to know that Orkut, besides India, is very popular in a couple of Latin American countries. And then I found the teachers are using Orkut, Facebook for both the purposes. So there is another finding is that the integration of social networking is not a regular feature of the Indian classrooms. And when it comes to pre-service teacher training or in-service training, then use of such technologies is bare minimum, very limited. And there is hardly any component where how these technologies can be integrated in the classrooms are shared with the trainees. Now let me move on very quickly to the interviews. This is something one of the teachers actually told me. I've used different colors to identify what actually he does with these technologies. and for what purposes. He says, normally OrCute I use for professional development. I do upload what normally I am doing a presentation, making it a kind of my own diary, a photo diary, a video diary. The other thing I use for counseling students, normally they scrap me their questions, what they do in their career, where should we take admissions, we change jobs or not. I also upload my photographs, and students and my colleagues do give their comments on these photographs. Couple of photographs generated a lot of comments, and these photos and comments can be used in the classroom for language learning. I've showed photographs in the classroom, and I've asked them to give their comments in 740 characters. I don't know. It could be 140 characters. But this is just a transcript. Or 1 line or 2 line only. The platform where language was generated, that helps in generating more language, more discussion. Now, so this teacher I found, whom I interviewed, is talking about pedagogic purposes of the use of technology. And at the same time, this teacher did not receive any training. He is a self-directed learner. He learned the use of technology and then started using them. Now, I noticed what the teachers actually, I was trying to look at teachers' textual practices. So I noticed that the teacher is also using one of the functions of OrCute testimonials. And I asked the teacher about the OrCute testimonials. That is what he said. At times when you are experimenting new things, there may be academicians who do not approve your work. And at that time, students who are approving their work through scraps and testimonials help build confidence, self-confidence among the teachers, and carry on with their experiments. This is quite an interesting submission, in the sense that the teacher is relying on student appreciation for carrying on whatever experiments he or she is doing. These are 2 screenshots of those OrCute testimonials, which the teacher talked about in course of the interview. And if you just look at it, it's just an appreciation of the class and the teaching that the particular teacher did. Have you ever been a teacher explored? Yeah.
There are questions in the text chat.
Okay.
Benjamin has a question. I don't know if you can see it. It says, with regard to the study, it's not clear to me the difference. Actually, Benjamin, you could ask the question. Why don't you ask the question? You can probably ask it much better.
Yes.
I don't know if you could speak just a little bit about, especially when you're presenting your results, the difference between technological use among teachers as far as professional development and their own learning versus simply using technology in their classes with their students. And I understand that there is some overlap, but I don't know within the purpose of your, or within the scope of your study, if you made that distinction, if that was part of your research as far as if teachers were using technology for their own learning purpose, or if they were simply just using technology in their class as far as as far as having it be a teaching learning tool. So I don't know if you could speak, or perhaps you'll speak about this later, but I just wanted to bring that out there because it wasn't really clear to me, this distinction. Thank you.
Okay, I got your question, and I think I'll answer to you at the end of my talk. I got your question and I have an answer to give you. I'll do that at the end of this talk. Thank you very much for raising such an interesting question. Now, the teachers I found are using a lot of tools from Google. They're also using Google Groups. And this is a kind of rationale that one of the teachers presented before me. Our students do not find any space to respond in a detailed way. So I just wanted to know whether this kind of platform does really help students to write in detail and express themselves clearly. We started weblogs, then we introduced webinars, and then we worked with Google Groups. We also used Wikispaces for some time, and now we are planning to switch over to Google Apps. Then that particular teacher also, when I asked the teacher to be more specific about whether the use of these Google Groups is for developing any kind of skills, the teacher mentioned about writing skills. Most of the students started with a very brief talk in our groups, and gradually they developed a detailed expression in terms of writing. And initially their write-ups were very incoherent, short, but later they gradually, by the period of a month or two, they developed a kind of an idea that the write-up is actually made of giving a particular thought in some form or manner. So they developed the writing skills. They were using a lot of connections, connectives, and they were using a lot of connections, connectives, coherent devices, and cohesive devices. Yes, that is in particular, they are talking about the use of technology in the classrooms and what the students are actually, the teacher is doing with the students. The teacher goes on, they were using AND, a specific example, more frequently for their write-ups. But gradually they come to know that there are also many other possibilities to use other conjunctions. So therefore, because of that, and they were actually making ideas and forming ideas into complex sentences. So from simple sentences to more complex sentences. One of the teachers that I interviewed using Facebook, and is using Facebook to share assignments, notes with students, and Facebook has a feature called Notes, and that feature is particularly using Notes. So this is one of the pedagogic the pedagogic use of this tool, I noticed. And then when I interviewed that particular teacher, why you were doing this, the teacher comes up with a kind of an explanation, which sounds to me as a kind of a pedagogical training. The whole idea of introducing a tool to not only develop language of students, it also develops my personal language, because the kind of feedback that we are used to giving in traditional classroom is very different from the kind of feedback I give now. With the use of our tools, because the feedback would be much more constructive, the feedback much more meaningful to the students. So meaningful feedback involves a kind of an analysis of the problem, that the kind of write-up that the students write, and so it develops a kind of idea how to go about teaching.
Kayan, can you do another mic adjustment? We're getting a lot of static on the line, so let's hope it's just the placement of the microphone. Go ahead and try.
Okay.
I think that's better.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, and now coming back to Benjamin's question, there is, when I started interviewing teachers and I started looking at their textual practices, there is considerable overlap. Considerable overlap. So, for example, what they are doing in the class with their students and how they are using it for their own professional development. And to my mind, this is happening because the teachers, they are also developing professionally by using this, and they are trying to use that with the students also to develop the students' language skills. So, I think, let me quickly summarize a bit of what I have said so far, because some people might have joined a bit later. The survey that I did gave me a kind of a figure of the average of the daily use of social networking for teaching and professional development in India, which is very low to the extent of 4.3%, which is much lower than average their daily use for socialization, which is around 12.3%. And the results actually shows to me that these teachers use social networking primarily for accessing and presenting information, interacting with students, finding professional development opportunities, and for collaborative and independent learning. They also use almost similar tools and sites for teaching and professional development purposes. A significantly higher percentage of teachers have received neither pre-service training nor in-service training in the use of social networking for any purposes. They are motivated to use social networking for their professional development because they believe such use has yielded tangible, real, valuable benefits such as visibility of their work, regular updating of their knowledge, and also obtaining help from their own professional community. The data also shows that the integration of social networking in teaching is not a regular feature of the Indian classrooms. Teachers mostly use them for improving their confidence level, power of expression, facilitating interaction between peers and teachers, and that too either in informal context or for collecting information for research purposes. Though such use of technologies is very limited in formal learning and both in pre-service and in-service training, informal and situated use of these technologies in teaching learning practices is very much visible. So that is something quite interesting, I repeat, that the use of these technologies is very limited in formal learning and in in-service and in pre-service training. But informal and situated use of these technologies in teaching learning practices is very much visible in India. Now I will look at some of the pedagogical concepts that I found. For example, with these networking tools like Google Groups, which are primarily designed to connect friends and family members, maintain connections, share stuff, like the pictures, videos, other information. But teachers in this particular study, I found they use Google Groups as a platform for offering their students kind of a scope, an opportunity to share each other's work, each other's log entries, for example, each other's presentations, and other course-related.
Kalyan, sorry to interrupt. The sound is really degraded from where you are. I think a solution might be to stop, to switch off your mic, and maybe we'll take some questions from the other people, and then by then maybe I know sometimes if you talk for extended periods, sometimes the sound degrades, but it might come back if you just switch it off. So maybe we could take a question. Yeah. So if people have questions, they can ask. Go ahead and turn your mic off. Okay, there we are. All right. So maybe things we've missed. We got a very nice point. He said that his studies show that that teachers are not they're using social networking in their normal lives, but not extending that into classrooms. I think I understood him to say that. Did you?
Okay. Can you repeat the question? And then once again for me.
Yeah. Oh, I guess my question is to. You said that. What was the most surprising thing in your study? I think you emphasized something that was surprising, and I was having trouble catching that. Can you repeat the?
No.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Vance, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Nellie. I can even recognize the voice.
Wow. Now, I've read this before in other studies, so this is not, I don't think it's maybe Kalyan's study confirmed this, but this is not new. This has been found in other studies that teachers are using, Facebook, Twitter, and so on, for their own personal use, whether professionally or personally, but they're not using it with their students in the classroom. So if his study found this as well, that's great. But I'm not sure if that's what he said. But it's not new. This has been researched before.
Okay, Kalyan, try again. Try to be very careful with mic placement, and we'll see if we've got better sound from you now.
If you just put a part can you just type the question in the chat so that I can give a better answer?
Yeah, I don't know what to recommend. The sound is just getting worse and worse. Yeah, you could do that. Benjamin suggests maybe you could just do a tools audio setup wizard and make sure that that you can hear your own recording, and see if you can troubleshoot the problem that way. Oh, and Nellie asked if you'd published your study anywhere. Is there somewhere we can read the results? I know you're giving several talks on this issue. Are you having trouble hearing us as well?
No, I hear you well. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's not very clear. But I could hear you ask, because you said that you could hear us, but and asked if we could hear you, and we can hear you, and we can follow if it goes slowly, and you have been going slowly, so I guess we'll just do our best. Just go ahead and possibly the recording might just come out fine, because often the packets are not sent properly in the synchronous session, but the recording sometimes comes in like in the effect that Nellie is pointing out.
Yeah, but I myself, I have this, and I hear the news, and if you can share your links in your own Wi-Fi, then I think everyone gets the message.
Okay, I'm going to switch off the webcam, and I'll do that. Take care of that problem, because that will also take up bandwidth. I'm having trouble finding the setting to cut. I think I have to cut the videos individually. But in any event, there's no video playing right now. So, unfortunate about the degradation in the sound. I think best thing is if you just carry on and tell us what you can, and it might come out in the recording.
Okay. Can you hear me? Is the better now? Okay. Okay. So,
Maybe I could help by this slide. The present slide is about learners' engagement with these tools, which allow creation of new meaning and form through less familiar new semiotic forms, and presents new practices with these tools. Any comments on that statement, Kalyan? And the second point here is such remediation, Bolter and Cruzan, 1999, etc. Such remediation tool serves teachers' pedagogic purposes by creating resources for web-based teaching and offering new modes of thinking and learning. So, would you like to make any comment on those points?
Yes. actually see what teachers are actually looking at what teachers are actually doing in technology. And I looked at their practices. What they're doing, Facebook, Google Groups, what functions, and so on. I found that they're using a lot of tools and tools are creating and using tools to engage students for different purposes. And the students are also discovering new meaning and tools. To be familiar, new tools are formed. And the new practices with these tools are coming up. Now, these kind of innovations I talked about of these tools, in a way, it serves the teacher's purpose. Teacher's purpose, the teacher's with a particular purpose of creating resources for community teaching. That's why we mode of thinking and learning. And these treatment of the practices of the students also show that
Kalyan,
yeah.
It's so bad. We sort of have a solution. Nellie has offered to reschedule the presentation on WizIQ. She thinks it might work better from India. And why don't we do that? Because it'll be interesting to hear the recording. It could be just perfect in the recording. Sometimes the recording just puts the packets back together just fine. But at the moment, we're just unable to benefit. So maybe we can get you with Nellie, and you can reschedule. Try it in WizIQ. And before we go, too, let me just page through the slides so that people can see them. You've got a couple of other findings here. Students encouraged to cross-comment on each other's blogs, developing a sense of community, and opportunity to practice their literacy skills in non-threatening environments, and some suggestion that they become more autonomous. And then I hope you don't mind that they're going ahead because we're just getting 2 slides short of the end. Other findings, teachers believe that these results yield tangible, real valuable benefits such as visibility of work, regular updating of knowledge, limited use of these technologies in formal learning and both in pre-service and in-service training, but more visibility in informal in teacher learning practices. And key digital literacy practices were identified as boosting students' confidence in the use of Web2 tools, giving feedback on their work, and creating online learning resources, and designing online. And then the next to last slide is talking about future research. Just take a peek at the last one, and the last one is your email address. So Namita is asking if it's published, and if you'd like, you can put a link in the text in the chat. And of course, if anybody has any questions, we've got 2 mics open now, so I can open another one. And if anybody has any discussion around the point, Benjamin, for example, has a comment. So go ahead and make that comment, Benjamin.
Yeah. Hopefully we can reschedule this because I'm definitely really interested in the findings and learning more about the study. But one of the things I'm still trying to work through, and perhaps you mentioned this, I just didn't make it out because of the sound quality. I'm still looking for the relationship between the technological use being used in the classroom with students versus the technological use in terms of professional development. So, hopefully we can reschedule this, and you can talk a little bit about that, looking at this relationship between the 2 ways of a teacher can use technology. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, and hopefully we can reschedule this talk. So I'll go ahead and mute my mic.
Thanks,
Recording in
Ben.
progress.
I wasn't asking Ben. I was asking Sherry. How is she involved in the study? Did Sherry also do the study with Kalyan? Is that it? Because she seems to be saying that her study. So did you also do a study on this, Sherry? If you could grab the mic
His
and
study,
explain what you.
as Clara says. Yeah, I don't think Jerry has a mic.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. No, I'm not doing my study along with Professor Kalyan. I mean, this is part of my PhD at IFLU, English and Foreign Languages University. I'm looking at the use of online resources for the professional development of teachers, how teachers use it informally at their own pace, and what are the different ways in which they use, how do they use, and what are the perceived effectiveness of using online resources. So that would be like that. Thanks, Nelly. It happens all the time.
Do you have your study anywhere? Is it on? Can I get it from a library somewhere, Sherry?
Nelly, I'm doing it. I'm yet to start my data collection and all. I started in 2012.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I missed that. Sorry about that. So you're in the process. Okay. So hopefully we'll get to read that when you're finished.
I'd like to point out that we are always looking for interesting topics to discuss on Learning Together, which is usually about this time, maybe a little earlier on Sundays, could be on Mondays. So really it's up to the presenters. But if you'd like to talk about your research, anybody, you're more than welcome to do that. Benjamin is the kind of the organizer or coordinator of the TIL community, Teachers for Interactive Language Learning, which has some 400 some odd members in Google communities. So he also does frequent hangouts, and so we like to keep these conversations going. So I'll put a link in the Learning Together link in the text chat here, and maybe Benjamin can do the same for Teachers for Interactive Language Learning. So we'd love to keep the conversations going, and we'll put Kalyan in touch with Nelly.
I'd like to Vance, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vance, I'd like to make a suggestion, since we've never had this before, but I think this is an opportunity because I'm discovering that others are also interested. I am very interested in any kind of research that involves technology, using the internet, call, whatever, not just for professional development. On the contrary, I'm interested in student studies, teachers and students, and how teachers are managing with technology and with their students. There isn't enough research out there apparently, and it's getting even less so. So anybody who's interested and who's doing research, maybe we can use these weekly, learning together for, to share research ideas and where people are and what's happening. What do you think?
Well, anything sounds great. We try to do this once a week. That's 52 times a year. I'd say we've got about 10 or 20, 30 years ahead of us. So we're looking at 150 odd that's only 3 years. 1,000 topics, 1,000 weeks we need to cover, and there's infinite amount of things to talk about. So Learning Together is open for anybody who wants to grab a week. We're pretty full up through December, but January, February is not taken yet. So, and Kalyan has put his link for his study, and so we'll grab that. And I'll put it in the archive link, which will be at the link that I put in, at learningtogether.net. It's if you go to learningtogether.net, you'll land on the latest podcast, and I'll go ahead and put the recording of this. I think, especially at the beginning, we had good audio, and we might even have good audio throughout. Let's see. It could be that the link is not found because it's lacking in HTTP. Anyway, we'll see if we can fix that. Please, any further comments? We're coming up on the hour, but about 5 minutes shy of it. So the way I usually run these sessions is I let the conversation play out, and then when the conversation stops, I stop the recording, and then once I've done that, everyone has to leave the room so that the session will get put into its place at the Elluminate servers. CO14 is collaborating online? Connecting online. Connecting online is Nellie's ongoing conference. She's been doing connecting online conferences, setting up her Connecting Online 14 in February. And we'll let you know at the normal Learning Together channels. You can just go to Learning Together. I'll put that link in the chat as well. I've got a few things to do with multitasking here. So Callie has a link here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, so anyway, here I'll put the Learning Together link. This is where we announce all our sessions at this link here. So I put that in the text chat. You can go there and find out what's coming up. So if anything comes through me, or even if I catch wind of it often, I'll just stick it in the Learning Together schedule. So that's a good place to go to see what's happening in the next week or so. Okay. Any further comments? I'm going to try and find Kalyan's good link and open the mic back for everybody else. Of course, there are mics available. You can just click on it. Nellie's hand is up. Go ahead.
My hand stayed up. I should have taken it down. Anyways, I want to thank everybody, and I'm really sorry that we didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance to really understand what Kalyan was saying, but I hope we can reconnect.
Okay, I'm busy in the background I'm going to try this link. I haven't tested the link, but see if that one works. That one's got a HTTP on it. Trying it out myself. Nope, can't be found. No, it's not a good link. So Kalyan, we can't connect with your study. Not at that Word document that you put there. Yeah, the suggestion is good. It's that we're going to get the link from Kalyan and put it on the Learning Together site. We'll put it in the archive. So, yeah, it is frustrating. It's like having laryngitis. Poor Kalyan. Okay, we'll do it again, Kalyan. We'll get a decent connection and get your session, find out more about all the interesting research you're doing. Okay, so any final thoughts for Kalyan? We'll take them now. Okay, Kalyan has said, please Google future directions for digital literacy development of Indian educators. I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, I think I got it too. I'll put the ooh goodness, no, that's not the link. Okay, but I did get I downloaded the file. It came down, so we'll see what we can do. So thanks a lot, Kalyan. Sorry about all the trouble. Certainly not your fault. Something going on between India and the rest of cyberspace at the moment. And as I say, with any luck, it may come out fine in the recording. Sometimes the recording just irons it out. So this is, yeah, that's the one I got too, Nellie. I wonder if that link actually works. Yes, it does. That link that you put in works. That's good. Okay, Nellie put the link in to the document, which you can get through Google. Okay, so thanks very much, everybody. This is November 10th. This is Learning Together, and we're learning together tonight with Kalyan Chattopadhyay and also Nellie Deutsch, who just gave a presentation on WizIQ, and she's offered to replay this talk in WizIQ at a later date. We'll set it up with Kalyan by email and announce it on Learning Together, learningtogether.pbworks.com. So thanks very much. And Nellie is going to connect with Kalyan now, and we'll set it all up. Thanks, and sorry again about the problems. Bye for now.